Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our evening edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars Live Feed Spoilers. We are now closing out day 15, and it has been an eventful couple of hours on the live feeds. Ironically, it started to get popping like 15 minutes before the show started, and during the whole show, the live feeds were almost equally as compelling.
Yeah, they were. It was hard to not tune into that and to watch the show.
We'll get to the feeds because there's some pretty interesting Nicole Anthony stuff when it comes to Janelle and Kaysar going on there, but we'll start with a few thoughts on the episode. Before we go any further though, if you guys like this video, give us a like, subscribe. Also, support us further, hit that notification bell, check out our store for shirts, mugs, and other cool stuff, and of course, check out our Patreon. We have a live chat there at the last Sunday of every month, and we appreciate you guys so much for all your support.
So we'll talk a little bit about the episode.
Yeah.
It was cool to see that the bond between Tyler and David is a lot stronger than even I thought. Like, it seems like it is very strong.
It just reminds me further how good of a player Tyler is. Just seeing him kind of work and discuss things, and then seeing him even on the feeds as well. It's just, I'll talk about this more, I'm sure, as the season goes, but it's like everyone should be terrified of this guy, and they're just like transfixed on whether it's Nicole A or Cody or Janelle. It's Tyler can easily win this game.
Yeah, he can. So it was cool to sort of see that a little more and have a bit more of a broader picture of why David's really as insulated as he is.
It was also good to sort of see in the diary rooms just how much this blob alliance started by Memphis is getting closer and closer to de-blobbing once he is done being HOH. These people do not trust him. They are not into him.
No, the CBS did a bit of a better job tonight actually showing that that's all kind of falling apart. They even had a little bit of that conversation between Memphis and Danny where Danny called him out on the show too and was like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, don't talk to me like that. I mean, that conversation was obviously a lot longer and a lot where he was really coming down on her before she got to that point that she was like, why are you talking to me like that?
Did you appreciate that for this Power Veto competition, they seemingly raided Jeff Probst's garage and took like a Survivor immunity challenge, repainted it. This is the ultimate socially distanced Power Veto competition, I guess. Low budget, easy to put together. Here's a platform, here's a ball. Now have fun.
And it was really like a leaning into the people that have arm strength. I mean, I saw that challenge and I looked at Nicole A. I was just like, no, man. Oh, no.
No, it is not a shock to anyone that it is Tyler and David and Memphis who were there sort of at the end of all of it.
Yeah, and it was so sad and relatable to me to watch David take that moment to look over at what was going on with Memphis, because if you've been watching us a little while, you know that we play a lot of Minecraft. So we play split screen, and I've made below our house this like dungeon that's filled with like a slime pit bouncy castle, and there's like a bunch of like arcade games. If you want to see the stuff we built, it's over on Instagram just in case you are interested. But one of the things that I've also built is a giant ladder that goes up and down into the house, and every time I'm going up this ladder, I'll look over because Matt will be like, oh man, I'm building this amazing whatever, and I'll be like, really? And then I will fall to my death. So
True
relatable.
Story. True story. It happens. My deaths are usually for other stupid reasons, like I don't see a monster behind me and it kills me. But it is a very fun game. But okay, we'll get to the live feeds because you guys watched the episode. This is the story that we really got to focus on. It is Nicole Anthony starting to see the light that maybe, just maybe, talking bad about Janelle and Kaysar for 3 days when they're the sole people campaigning for her is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, and she's also upset with Davon, which makes sense because the two of them and Kevin made an alliance at the beginning of this game that they were going to kind of go to Final 3 together. And now Davon's been really struggling with her vote if she's going to give it to David or she's going to give it to Nicole Anthony. And Nicole Anthony is upset because she's supposed to be in a Final 3 with Davon, so she's not understanding then why is Davon then not sticking with her. They're working together.
I think Nicole Anthony, we've gotten a really good sort of psychological study into everything today. I think her problems are that she feels obviously betrayed and hurt that Davon isn't sure that she wants to keep her, and I think she got it in her head that Memphis got power. She thought Memphis and Janelle and Kaysar were close enough that it would protect her. That didn't happen, and I think because of all of her scar tissue from last season, she hasn't had any time to recover from it, and so she's in there not thinking clearly. She doesn't have any of the intuition that she had last season, and that's why she's just been so terrible strategically and overly defensive and just like defensive about everything, and it's driven us crazy over the past few days.
And I think it's been really hard for Davon as well because she really is torn here about what she really wants to do. And I think Davon really needs to just take a minute for herself to figure out what she wants to get out of this game. Is it that she's, is she in there just for the money? Is she in there for the friendships? Is she in there for what she's sort of focusing on morally inside of herself? What does she want to get out of the game? Because, of course, everyone's there for the money, but people also go on this show for other reasons of what they want to get out of the game.
It's a weird position that Davon finds herself in. It's a really difficult position. I understand that she's got to be struggling in all different directions with this. The mistake that Davon has made today, and I think Davon has had a particularly bad day in the house, is that she vocalized too much of what she was thinking to other people, because now she's in a spot where Nicole Anthony is really distrusting her and feels very upset at her, and because enough information about her sort of being on the fence has gotten back to the Codys of the world, the Dannys, like that whole group. Now they're also very distrusting of Davon, and they don't know exactly where she sort of lands. So she's kind of gone from being in a pretty good spot where she could sort of be almost a double agent to everyone is sort of thinking about her now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hoping that Davon's just going to take a minute, figure out exactly what she wants to get out of the game so that when she just takes that next step to move forward, it's just going to keep propelling her forward, because then she'll just be on a clear path, and I think she really needs that. Hopefully it'll be over with Janelle and Kaysar, because this other group just doesn't have her best interests at heart. No. She's at the bottom of that alliance, and she doesn't need to be at the bottom of anybody's alliance.
Yeah, and if they're not trusting her right now anyway, they don't really need her as much as Janelle and Kaysar do, and I think that's why today we see Janelle and Kaysar really go full pep talk on Nicole Anthony, even after realizing that Nicole Anthony has basically been bad-mouthing them for days on end. And, okay, it starts with Nicole Anthony and Janelle. They have a brief discussion. Janelle realizes how upset Nicole is at her. There's no real resolution, but then they get together again later, and it is a exhausting experience of just sort of hearing why Nicole Anthony is betrayed, and she goes through a lot of the stuff we've talked about time and time again. Janelle, to Janelle's credit, she played this pretty cool. She did not get mad.
No, and I mean, I think Nicole Anthony also played this the best way she could. I know everyone was hoping there was going to be a big house meeting, and then Janelle was just going to, burn her to the ground, but this was the right move. Nicole needed to just go to Janelle, have it out, talk about what her insecurities are with this relationship, why it's not working for her, what the problem was. And it seems like a lot of the problem is that Janelle went and had this big, huge talk with Memphis, and then Nicole ended up on the block. So I think she just had a lot of mistrust after that. And I kind of get where Nicole Anthony's head is at a little bit with that. But I mean, Janelle and Kaysar really put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
That at this point, Nicole Anthony really should understand that Janelle doesn't control Memphis. I mean, we've all seen now, and everyone in the house has seen, nobody controls Memphis. He does what he wants.
The thing about it that was hard for me at first was sort of hearing Janelle explain some of these things that she was trying to do to Nicole Anthony, and Nicole's response was, well, you didn't do enough. And at that point, I was just like wanting to pound my head against the wall, but eventually,
because you're still a grown woman, Nicole, that you are able to make these own choices and go out and campaign for yourself. It is not Janelle's job to save you like it is your job to save you. And I still really like Nicole Anthony, but she needs to just get in there and do some stuff for herself. And that's what's getting really frustrating to me, is she is bashing Janelle, but she's, blaming Janelle for not taking her through the game. Like, she just needs to figure it out.
And I think it was sort of the conversation with Janelle and Nicole Anthony sort of softened her up a little bit. And then Kaysar sort of comes in, and he's like the closer on this. And
he really was.
Let me tell you this. After hearing Kaysar sort of talk to her, I mean, he was basically her dad for starters. And also, I want Kaysar to, like, I don't know, Zoom call me anytime I need motivation now, because this was actually a lot more effective than his idea of trying to, like, get Nicole F and Janelle to be friends, which was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was a terrible idea.
From overnight. But he was just sort of like with her. Nicole Anthony was doing this whole thing about, like, shouldn't have come back. I'm not an all-star. Like, what I mean, and he was sort of like, I had a really hard time too the second time that I played, because it was just after my first experience, and I feel like I did not take advantage of it enough, and I have this regret that is in me. You're not done with this yet. You still have an opportunity. Be glad you're here. Millions of people would love to be where you are and fight and be positive. I was just like, Kaysar, I love you even more now. I'm gonna be and he was mentioning that Janelle was like crying for her, and he's never seen Janelle cry.
Yeah, and it feels like Nicole Anthony has finally seen the light and actually believes what he's saying, that him and Janelle are actually on her side. The problem is that this vote is in like less than 24 hours now.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is enough time now.
It is in such disarray, and it doesn't help that people like Nicole Anthony's already gone and talked to Kevin and to Dave Vaughn, and like both Kevin and Dave Vaughn are still like subtly throwing shade at Janelle, and sort of Dave Vaughn's being like, Janelle has always been wanting to keep you, but I don't think it has anything to do with you as a person. I think it's just because you're a number.
And you know what? That's fine if that's what it is, but she needs the numbers to stay.
Yeah.
So, Janelle wants to use her as a number. Cool, man. Keep me safe. Let's stay in the game. But she just isn't going to have those votes unless she gets somebody from that other side of the house. There just isn't enough votes to keep her. And after seeing tonight's episode and how close David is to Tyler, she's got to really bargain something there with maybe someone like Enzo. That's the one I've been pushing.
Yeah.
He thinks that this can be a lifeline to get information from Janelle. And if maybe the three of them all came up with that plan where Janelle was like, yeah, tell him what he needs to know so that you stay. And then, next HOH, who cares what you promised him? Then great.
Yeah.
They just need to come up with a really solid plan to work over Enzo.
Yeah, because otherwise you've got Janelle, you've got Kaysar, you've got Kevin. That's three.
That's really all you have right now, because Devon is undecided, and Bailey, I mean, who knows where she's going to end up landing.
Bailey's going to go with them if the numbers are there.
Yeah.
Bailey's not going to stick her neck out, I think, to drop a number on a vote that's not there.
No, so it is dependent where she'll land.
So, yeah, you got to talk to Ian. You got to talk to Enzo. Like, if you can get Ian and Enzo, maybe you have a chance. But is Enzo going to do something without Cody? Is Ian going to do something without Nicole F? This is a very uphill battle, to say the least.
It is. And I think if Nicole Anthony had really come to this realization like yesterday morning or maybe even yesterday afternoon, there could have been enough time for her and Janelle and Kaysar to actually just come up with a plan. And, you know, Nicole Anthony then to do more work with Devon instead of just bashing Janelle. She could have been working more of like I thought we were working together. We're an alliance together. Like, I have your back. Like, I understand where you're coming from with everything with David, but I'm working with you, so please consider that.
I'm just happy at this point that she knows before leaving the game that Janelle and Kaysar have been fighting for her. I didn't necessarily want to see her just get royally clowned by Julie or Twitter or anything else.
I still worry that she's going to be clowned by Twitter. It's going to be tough, but she's got a good family. She's got her co-host. I think people are going to be able to help get her through it because, you know, it can be tough.
Yeah, she's made a lot of mistakes. It's a game. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but we will be back in the morning to break down what is hopefully going to be an eventful night. Come on, Nicole, at least campaign. Give us some good, interesting drama to talk about. What do you think Nicole Anthony can do? Do you think that she's actually repaired things with Janelle and Kaysar, or is she going to go back to her old ways, bashing them 5 minutes after we record this?
Oh my goodness, please don't.
Yeah, let's try to have this be a little bit evergreen beyond just a few minutes. Let us know in the comments, and if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we will see you here next time.